hoarse. I am ill. I'm under the weather today. I'm doing this stream. I still have to go to work. I still have to do a number of different things. But let's just get to it. All praise be to the Most High God. The Most High God comes first. Uh, and everything we do and say. If you like this stream, don't forget you can like, share, subscribe. You can also donate via PayPal. The link is in the description. This stream is brought to you by LIV Products. We have a line of drinks and we have a line of cleaning products. Some of the drinks you see in front of you are what you see here. And in terms of cleaning products, these are them. We also have punches. Let me show you that real quick. We have some punches here. I've expanded my punches so that I have way more punches now. So back in the day, we only had 3 punches, which were peanut butter right here. We had chocolate right here. And then we had, we had peanut butter, pumpkin, and beetroot. Well, I've added to that Guinness, sea moss, chocolate. And I'm going to also be adding molasses. And I don't think I forgot anything. Did I forget anything? And peanut butter, of course. So you have peanut butter, you have beetroot, pumpkin, you have sea moss, you have chocolate, you have Guinness. Now you're going to also have additional to that molasses. Stay tuned. If you're in the Trinidad and Tobago area, check out the LIVE products. We have natural fruit juices and we also have punches. The punches are 15, the juices are 10, and the cleaning products are $10. So let's get into this fascinating discussion that we're going to have today. First and foremost, let's look at this quotation here from Batman v Superman. It says, "Men with power obey neither policy nor principle, Miss Lane. No one is different. No one is neutral." Now, this was General Amaja, part of the resistance to the Nairobi government, and they were the resistance group that was pushing back against the government of Nairobi. And Miss Lane got an interview with him, and she was saying that the United States has declared itself neutral in the affairs, the civil war that's going on in Nairobi. And this was his response. And I gotta say, I'm gonna say it again. I don't think there's any comic book movie before or after who has covered this. Shadow governments, shadow bodies that actually control nations. That nations are actually controlled by corporations, and these corporations have as their tools to implement the military industrial complex and the CIA, or the intelligence agencies, which do the dirty work for them, where they need, for example, regime change in certain countries to push through certain laws, or because they've lost their monopoly in certain countries and they've been moved out of certain countries to reestablish that power and dominance there in terms of the resources in the countries. They will hire the military industrial complex and the intelligence agencies to carry out operations to make that happen. So I find this very interesting, how contemporary this movie is and how real it is. And this is, just so many good things to say about Batman v Superman. But we're going to have those discussions as we go up on Twitter. So I'm going to go up on Twitter now. Oh, this is another really great one. He says, Lex Luthor, who, again, I think to some degree, Marvel did a tremendous disservice to the comic book industry. But anyway, Lex Luthor, who a very clueless fan said, was the worst part of BVS because they just simply could not identify with the way the character was behaving based on the known um, way how certain actors have played the character over the years. Aside from that, let's look at what Lex Luthor said. He said, "Do you know what the oldest lie in America is, Senator? That power can be innocent," which is an incredible statement again he has made. And Chris Terrio outdid himself on this film. Of course, I would not recommend anybody watch the shorter theatrical cut. I would suggest that you get all the goodies, and all the context from the Ultimate Edition, which was supposed to go up on the screen in theaters actually 3 weeks before they changed everything. Okay, so keeping that going. Oh, this is so good. Look at this. This is in a bit of ultra slow motion, unfortunately. But this is again BVS. A lot of people say that BVS is the best comic book movie of all time, and they will die on that hill. I understand how rich BVS is. You don't have to tell me. I know. I'm still analyzing it to this day. I think Zack Snyder's Justice League is Zack Snyder's best work because I think, and Chris Terrio as well, because I believe that that movie was able to carry through. You know how hard it is to carry through a movie from before and be continuous with it and go. And you could tell Zach had an idea where he wanted to go with these characters from the get go. And Terrio again did a marvelous job of understanding and getting and grasping that stuff. So it was just fantastic to even in any sort of partial or significant way see these characters on the screen and see them materialize in front of our eyes. It's a fantastic thing. I can't lie to you. I'm going to show you something here. So here are similarities between Man of Steel and Zack Snyder's Justice League. This is Superman taking his first flight in Man of Steel, and Superman taking his second flight to charge up in Zack Snyder's Justice League. You see the same action where gravity starts to escape the things on the ground, start to levitate, and then Superman takes off. And let's not forget General Zod as well. General Zod also did that same thing. Was able to psychokinetically influence the environment around him. Now, when you look at in stark contrast this nonsense I'm about to show you from Justice League, you go from something that's almost feels spiritual to some kind of slop that the payoff is comedy. I gotta admit, I can't feel it. I don't feel it. Here is okay. Look at the mastery of this thing. So on top is BVS and below is Zack Snyder's Justice League. I really enjoyed that, and there's so many things to take in consideration when you're dealing with superheroes. People say Zack's very liberal with the superhero genre. He wasn't, and he didn't honor it. He was very careful to not tarnish the hero and the superhero, even though the superhero may go through issues where they're challenged. For example, this is a heroic act, even though this gentleman, he wants to kill Superman. Bruce Wayne wants to kill Superman. Look how carefully also he moved the child from there. They didn't do anything that insinuated any kind of sexual activity. But you look at, we just watched this, And this insinuates sexual activity, and it's supposed to be a joke as well, which is just awful. Okay. It seems as if, okay, I'll put it to you this way. These Marvel directors, they seem to disgrade and denigrate these superheroes to get a laugh. Okay. So they will, you see, they slam Batman into the ground. He looks stupid. The Flash, he goes and he dry humps Wonder Woman, and he looks foolish. You listen to James Gunn's Peacemaker, and he's always cursing out the Justice League or saying negative things about them. Now, he is a sort of villain, so it is expected, but nonetheless, James Gunn seems to relish in that. You look at James Gunn's Superman movie, which which has come out, I believe. It will be coming out soon. Let me show you something here. I don't know if it's a download. I have to see. I really, I can't see it, so I can't really. What I was going to show you was a clip of what James Gunn did to his Superman versus what Zack Snyder did with his Superman, you know? But we'll pass on that. Let me see what's going on here. It's not bad. All right, so this here is from the Batman, which it seems as though Gunn would like that to fuse with the DCU, but I think Matt Reeves is resisting that. I don't think that's going to happen. But I'm going to show you guys something. So this is the Batman in hallway scene. He's getting shot. He's beating up guards and stuff like that, right? It is attractive lighting, but do you know that this actually comes from this scene? Batman was in an underground tunnel as well, and he took out the bad guys. Okay, and I've repeatedly said, if you look at the Dark Knight's Batman, the tech suit, the tech stuff on the outside, right, and you look at Pattinson's Batman, it's a ripoff of this. Just that this is done much better. See, Pattinson's Batman didn't do anything new in terms of characters, in terms of costuming, in terms of scenarios, in terms of how the world is made. Matt Reeves said it's a grounded world, just like Christopher Nolan said it was a grounded world. Um, the Kevlar suit on the outside, you see it there. This is a younger Batman, obviously. But I say all of this to say that Matt Reeves tried to basically do the same thing Christopher Nolan did. You just have a little twist to it, which wasn't much, but it was something. Which is, you're doing a Riddler story, so it could be a sort of mystery story. You have to find clues. Remind me of Die Hard a little bit, but not as hard as Die Hard. This movie didn't really press buttons, didn't really press boundaries. Okay, so the one thing that happened was Bruce Wayne's butler died in the movie. Okay, fine. But to say this movie pushed boundaries or did anything, you know, exceptional, it didn't do much of anything. When you leave the movie, you're not asking any questions about yourself or society or anything like that. This movie basically borrowed elements from Joker. It borrowed elements from Christopher Nolan's Batman. That's it. This movie brings nothing new to the table. Catwoman, we saw her in Nolan's Batman. Um, Penguin, we saw him in Burton's Batman. Joker, we saw him in several Batman movies, right? We've seen him now in Suicide Squad. We've seen him in uh, uh, Nolan's Dark Knight. We've seen him in the very first Batman 1989 Burton movie. Okay, So he didn't bring anything new to the table per se. And then Joker's followers and the gangs, again, that was in Joker, right? So I don't understand, and as everybody universally would say, they don't see really Patterson as a Batman. He does remind us of a Nightwing. He does remind us of a Robin. But he doesn't seem mature enough. He doesn't seem fully formed enough. And he doesn't seem big enough to be a Batman. It looks like now, when you look at this picture of Patterson here, and I don't mean to bash him, but again, his neck looks too small. And that's why you have to put an extra color on the neck, because he's got a skinny little neck. When you see Patterson, let's see if we can get some pictures of Patterson somewhere here. And the smallest Batman so far has been, I think, Michael Keaton. But Keaton carries himself in a manner in which he won't do certain things, so that his Batman still looks ominous, right? Christian Bale's the second smallest Batman we have. Bale. Patterson looks smaller than Bale, and Patterson is a big guy. All right, this is Christian Bale's Batman here. Okay. So what I want to show you guys is this, if I can find it. Oh my God. Let's not even talk about Jeffrey Dean Morgan. He's a huge guy, big like Ben Affleck. If you want to see the baddest Batman, the DC needs to restore the Snyderverse, because the baddest Batman on the block, bar none, will be a Thomas Wayne Batman. Okay, he's more extreme than Batman. And y'all talk about Batman being brutal. Oh my God, Thomas Wayne, who as Batman, Jeffrey Dean Morgan to play Batman. Oh my God, I would love to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan play Batman. No doubt about that. But hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can find what I'm looking for here. Oh boy. So some fans were saying that, the Superman that James Gunn is doing, he's comic book accurate. And then they were going on to talk about how, Henry Cavill snapped General Zod's neck, and we had to bring back this picture here showing Superman killing General Zod with kryptonite. And this Superman is not All-Star Superman. They're saying this is All-Star Superman. This is not in any way All-Star Superman. First of all, look at that's All-Star. This is All-Star Superman here. His cape is shorter. That's 1. 2, his S is different. 3, his entire outfit is different. So Christopher Reeve Superman looks more like, and even this is longer than Christopher Reeve Superman. He's got the same kind of S, not the same, but the same design, not the same design either, but the same color code of S in the back. So I guess what they're talking about is the S in the back probably, but this is a different S. Okay. The suit is so wrinkly. Look at that. Look at that. Wrinkles everywhere. Wrinkles everywhere on this suit. Everywhere. Especially in the elbow areas and the shoulder areas. There's lots of wrinkles. And aesthetically, something has to look good. James Gunn was like, fuck that. We'll do the best we can, and then we'll just keep it running. They want trunks, they're going to get trunks. Okay? So James Gunn is like, that's secondary to the story. The problem is this does not look good. He's a big, bulky guy. We can see he's strong. But there's no definition on him at all. And the stuff is loose and slack. But it is what it is. Now, this is not All-Star Superman. Okay? So you guys need to stop it. Okay? This is sort of a hybrid between the New 52 Superman and a Christopher Reeve Superman. Now, you want to see what I'm talking about? I'm going to show you. So this is All-Star Superman here with Krypto. Remember, Krypto is also in All-Star Superman. He has the trunks, something like All-Star Superman's trunks, but his boots are different. And of course, the design of his of his suit with all those lines and things. It reminds us of the New 52, but it's not quite New 52 either. So this is what we're dealing with. That's All-Star Superman there. Yeah, it's kind of broad trunks, so that's why they think so, but the S is different. The outfit is different. You see, um, the colors are different. The cape is different. Okay, so it's not All-Star Superman. It's more like Christopher Reeve Superman. This is Christopher Reeve Superman here. Here's what Christopher Reeve Superman looks like All-Star Superman. Not really. I'll show you what I mean. So you have two little bottle loops there, right? And this is Christopher Reeve Superman here. He has the two little bottle loops. All-Star Superman, not so much, right? So you can see it's different. This has a square kind of thing going on there. Christopher Reeves has a sort of circular thing going on there. He has the S on his chest and the cape and the boots. This feels like cosplay. So anyway, the bottom line I'm making is this: that there are all kinds of Superman. Okay, this is looks like a cosplay Superman as well. The S from Kingdom Come, the design is kind of like that. It's not really. This one's fatter, and the colors is different. So it's not the same, but it's a Superman without the trunks, and he can look grand. He can look great without the trunks, as you see. Superman, Superman. So and I think that's a lot of things that people don't understand. I love this, so I'm gonna share this with you guys. Martha, why did you say that name? You're letting him kill Martha. And basically, if some people were saying, why didn't you say you let him kill my mother? Well, he definitely would have died. When he said Martha, and the whole sentence, you're letting him kill Martha. And Ben Batfleck being like always having nightmares about his mother being killed, right? He dreams about that. He began with a dream. So Martha is bigger in his mind. And so when you said he letting him kill Martha, he immediately goes back to the alleyway where Joe Chill kills Martha Wayne. And it's a big thing for him. So that's why Martha had to be mentioned. If he said my mother, he would have killed him. But because he said Martha and letting him kill Martha, who's him? He didn't mention a name. And that jogged him. Now, when he was saying, why did you say that name? It got his attention, obviously. In addition to that, I think he started going back into the alleyway and that dark place. He's going to say Martha Kent, by the way. And he said, save Martha, which is crazy. See, this is where he pauses. And of course, Lex Luthor had given Superman PTSD by showing him his mom in a very critical state. Zack Snyder's Justice League, Wonder Woman, the ultimate cut of BBS, and Man of Steel. These are classics. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay. So let me get out of that and let me get into some more of what we're going to talk about today. So Autono, Free Palestine, he says, fracking YouTuber here thinks Oscar-winning writer Chris Terrio isn't an actual writer. He didn't want to cuss. This is Fire James Gunn and Peter Safran, boycott WB, Fire James Gunn. Okay. So Gray sees, he said this. I really wish Zach could have only directed these movies. Zach could be a generational director with actual writers behind him. Now, Gray sees obviously doesn't know who wrote these movies. Zack Snyder's Justice League was written by Chris Terrio. BVS was written by Terrio and David Goyer. And Man of Steel was written by David Goyer. So had he known who the actual writers were, David Goyer is a tremendous writer. He wrote for Blade. I mean, all the hits. He wrote for Blade, Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. I mean, he's written for a lot of stuff, extensive stuff. Krypton. the TV series. So David Goyer knows his stuff, and it was David Goyer actually who wanted to create this version of Superman that we see now on the screen, and we benefited in seeing 3 movies of it. So obviously, Gracie doesn't know what he's talking about, and we find a lot of people on social media who talk things that they don't really know what they're talking about, and that's why we have to set them straight. And I do that on Twitter all the time. Sometimes I actually get a little bit, vicious, and I start cursing them out while I'm doing it. But you know, it is what it is. Ryan Grimm says this was the funniest video of 2024. Guy was trying to compliment Israel's soccer team, but the Israeli guy just kept on berating him, so he flips to free Palestine. It was funny. I remember this. This was 14 months ago, says Prem Thacker. Israeli forces have killed more than 13,255 kids since. Kids in Gaza are hosting a press conference in English to beg the world for life. We come now to shout and invite you to protect us. We want to live. We want peace. I remember this. And it's so sad that this is still happening as we speak in real time in Palestine. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a bit, but let me leave that for a little later. Now, while America is financing Israel, sending them, I think it's $8 billion more dollars to 800 million or something like that, to allow the IDF to continue the genocide that's going on there. God has a sense of karma. And for those of you who don't know about the song Carmageddon by Isha May, you should check her out. Ia May, from Australia, she wrote and sang a song called Carmageddon. And what's Carmageddon? It's like Armageddon, but based on karma, which is you invested all these evil deeds, these wicked acts that you thought you did them in secret. And what's in the dark is coming to light now. It's coming back to catch you, to bite you in the butt. The boomerang effect, as they say. And so LA has been under fire. I mean, the fires got out of control and leveled out places in the city. And you're going to see a lot more in this as I continue on. But it's interesting hearing certain Zionists, how they talk about this and how they how they how they wished that all the people in Palestine would get wiped out. And then when it happens to them in their town, the devastation that is happening now, some of them are breaking down in tears and crying. Why is it you wish that for someone else? If you wish that for someone else, God is telling you, okay, you wish that for someone else. You didn't put yourself in their shoes. Fine. I'm going to give you the experience that you wish other people to have, and let's see how you feel about it. Too many people are filled with narcissism. They only care about themselves. Once they're fine, they don't care about anyone else. And God is making a statement saying, no, that's not how it's going to go. I'm going to let you feel what the other person's feeling. I'm going to let you experience what the other person is experiencing. So you will not be so judgmental. So you wouldn't be so hasty to want to annihilate people or kill people or be brutal in justice and say, this is the way it should be. I live on mercy. I have mercy for all kinds of people. Very, very wicked people live off the limit by mercy as well. And you need to know this. Especially people with a platform who recklessly say what they say. And we're going to go through some of them. Alan Mizrahi, he said, I wanted Trump to get elected for the same reason I wanted Netanyahu to get elected in Israel. His personality, style, and closed circle exposed America's barbarianism, disconnectedness, and disrespect for the whole world in full. No disguises, no fake niceness and fake values, just the plain, naked truth. Trump is America and America is Trump. Just as Israel is Netanyahu and Netanyahu is Israel. I disagree with that statement, those two statements. I think that the elite, you cannot confuse the people with the one percenters, with the oligarchs, with the people with wealth. And I will also put this caveat in there. Not all people who have wealth, not all people who are part of, let's say, the 1%, actually agree with what is going on. There are men of integrity who have earned their wealth the honest way and are in that 1%, who are giving back to communities, who are helping other people, and who are helping campaigns to fight against what is going on. So I'm not going to just stand here and categorically lace a whole group of people like how Israel is lacing all the Palestinians. It's much more complex than that. Now, having said that, anyway, let's continue what the guys say. Trump is America, America is Trump, and just as Israel is Netanyahu and Netanyahu is Israel. I will say this, though. There's a certain degree of pompousness and exceptionalism that the citizens of America have that deludes them so that they can't see the reality of situations. Because everybody's coming to America. I remember once I was speaking with my ex and I was criticizing America for the things that they do. She said, well, why did you come here? Why you come here to study and so on? If America's so bad, why don't you go back where you came from? And I listened to her, and she's herself an immigrant. And I listened to her arrogance, her pompousness. Well, if you don't like what's happening, then why don't you just leave? And I'm like, okay, I could do that. I mean, where I come from, it's actually better off than I'd be better off than if I'm there. But then I went on to say this. I said, if someone cannot be critical of something, if I can't be critical of something to see it get better, and I don't call out the injustices that have happened, really and truly, what am I doing? Are you telling me to shut my ass up and just conform and don't say anything? What are we on a fucking plantation still? And I'm so glad that Zack Snyder opened back up my freedom of speech so I can say almost anything I want to say now. I use this platform to do so. And if my life's on the line for that, so be it. But it's better to be transparent, honest with yourself, honest with other people. So let's continue. The age of false hopes and illusions is over. Now that everything's in the open, we will start to see some real change. As they push against the wall, people will be forced to speak up and defend themselves. And when they do, we will suddenly realize that both Israel's and America's power stem to a large degree from the fear their victims feel and the scenarios they make up themselves. As the fear dissipates, so will that power. Both countries are more fragile and less powerful than they and the rest of the world imagine. I believe this understanding the limits of American power will define much of Trump's second term. Similarly, for the remainder of Israel's days, it will be faced with the realization it has reached the absolute limits of its own power, influence, and ambition. There is no after Trump for the American empire. There's no after Netanyahu for the greater Israel psychotic fantasy. Both leaders represent the peak or the most quintessential, fully metastatic traits of their respective cultures, and both will mark very clearly the beginning of the undeniable fall. We know that the empire is falling. Okay, we can see it. We see the divisiveness now. Trump talking about land grabs. Suddenly, Canada. He's saying reckless things like, you know, sending troops to take over Canada and Greenland, and the European Union's pushing back on that, obviously. A lot of people are saying a lot of stupid stuff, and whether Trump likes it or not, he's going to have to follow the script that's put in front of him. He's part of the system, no matter what he says. He's part of it. And the people who believe in him, they're going to get discouraged and disappointed because he's not going to get assassinated. He's not that brave. He'll play along, though. Restore the Snyderverse, 100% correct. Martha triggered Bruce's PTSD. Yes, he has PTSD. It was an epiphany that he was becoming the very thing he swore to fight against. Okay, you could say that too. It's also humanized Clark and Bruce eyes, so no, it's not because of their mummies have the same name. Though that did help the situation because that helped Bruce to relate with Clark. He was asking, why are you saying that name? Because his mother had the same name. No, I don't think Superman knew that, which is the coincidental part of the thing, but sometimes in order to communicate something in desperation, you could actually say the right thing that stops the whole situation from happening. Hell, they even show him having flashbacks. The last word from his father before death was Martha. As someone suffers with CPTSD, it's a perfect visual of how it feels. Yes, we know. So Connell says rent is due. It's very disingenuous of you. Either really hate gun or you really love the attention. I'm guessing both. Is Zack Snyder the greatest director to have worked on a superhero movie? Said My Time to Shine. So I don't know how James Gunn came into this equation, but apparently he is. Big John says, or just telling the truth. I think they're better. Do I think Zack Snyder is the best comic book director of all time? No, not necessarily, but he's one of them. We have a bunch of them. There's a whole bunch of directors that have directed movies. And some of them done a great job, like Shyamalan. M. Night Shyamalan, he did a great job with Unbreakable and Split and then Glass. I love his stuff. I also enjoyed James Cameron's Avatar. I've enjoyed Deadpool, which recently came out. Mr. Levy, Sam Levy, I think was his name. He did a pretty good job with that movie, even though Ryan Reynolds it's based around Ryan Reynolds, really. Got Wonder Woman, Patty Jenkins. You've got Todd Phillips with the first Joker movie, was excellent. Still, I've got to go back and watch that again. You got Blade. You got the first two Blades were great. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. You have a bunch of comic book movies out there that really hit the bar. They hit the notes. So I would have my preference would be Zack Snyder as a great comic book director, but I'm not gonna say he's the only one. He did change the genre some, and if you consider the Wachowskis, they really changed the game. They didn't just change comic books and anime; they changed the game quite a lot. So there's a bunch of names I could name in terms of comic book directors and what they did and how I really enjoyed their stuff. For me to just say Zack Snyder is the greatest director I've ever seen in terms of superhero movies. But he is one of them, that's for sure. Big John says, just telling the truth. Now, Big John, now when Tim Burton has directed a Batman movie, legendarily. I mean, Tim Burton changed the genre, no doubt about that. And he's also another great director. I think Zach, though, did a lot more with the characters than Tim Burton did with his Batman. But that's a story for another day, So this Jewish band broadcasts their trustees in Gaza as the crowd laughs and cheers. Sick fucks. Yep. Dark Lord of the Fifth says, did you know that nearly 2 decades comic book writer Alex Ross had used friend and fellow graphic artist Frank Casey as his model for Superman? That's so cool. Lego Movie says, WB is still $40 million in debt and still going, what the F? Warner Bros. Discovery carries $40.4 billion in debt. The structure change would make it easier for WB to sell off its linear television networks. See marketer analyst Ross Ben says, referring to the cable TV business. However, finding a buyer will be challenging. They're trying to sell off everything so they can get, to pay off the debt. I think that they could pay off the debt much faster if they were to restore the Snyderverse. I don't know why they haven't figured that out. Okay, I'm going to stop talking now. I'm going to let this brother here talk.
Citizens have gone to Israel for 20,000 American-born citizens have gone to fight in the IDF. That means 20,000 U.S. citizens have gone to Israel to fulfill their fantasy of killing Arabs behind the shadowy veil to call them Islamic jihadists. Can you imagine 20,000 Americans going to join the Russian military or China's military and the U.S. just being like, no, that's all good? And then politicians trying to pass bills that give the IDF the same benefits as the U.S. military in America, calling themselves soldiers but being actual terrorists, such as putting on people's clothes of homes that you just blew up, filming yourself riding a child's bike in front of a house that you just drone striked, with doctors from all over the world saying that they are targeting children and shooting them in the head. After all this, some will stay there.
Why can these people be in the Pentagon and make war plans when they have a passport to Israel?
How can they be in the House? How can they be in the Senate? How can they be in the cabinet? How can you be loyal to two nations?
Treasury Department. Do you understand what you're saying? They're dual citizens and they have high-profile positions in our government.
Yes.
Take the land, claim that it's theirs, and then they make concessions on land that doesn't actually belong to them. The Zionist movement and Zionism on the ground is the idea of creating not only a Jewish state, but at the expense of the indigenous Palestinian population. What Zionism is the idea of privileging and giving exclusive rights to one group of people at the expense of another group of people. This isn't liberal. This isn't relating to equality. There isn't a single Zionist who's able to say that they actually believe that Palestinians have the exact same rights as Israelis who are living in that country. And this is the fundamental problem with Zionism. The fact that we're trying to make a distinction between what happened in 48 and what happened in 67 is a false distinction to be making. Zionism, as its fundamental core, is the idea of privileging one group of people over another. And the way that they created a Zionist state in the first place was to expel millions, hundreds of thousands, now millions of Palestinian refugees, including my family. And the way that you create a bigger Zionist state is to do the exact same process. I think that it's important to keep in mind that between the period of 1948 and 1967, which people are sort of trying to idealize as being the great years of Israel, there were Palestinians who were citizens of that state were living under military rule. First of all, immigration issues. My family hails from a town that is in the Galilee, and they were ethnically cleansed from their homes in 1948, have never been allowed to return back, even though they themselves are citizens of the state of Israel. Were considered present absentees. My family, some of whom actually fled to other Arab countries, including Jordan, have never been allowed to return to their home inside what is present-day Israel, but for one reason and only one reason, because they're not Jewish. Another law that the Knesset has recently passed is a law that allows communities to be able to discriminate against people who decide to move into those areas. So, for example, if you are Arab, there are communities that are specifically designed to weed you out because they don't want any Palestinians living amongst them.
It's true. That's a reality. And it is not a reality that should be condoned. They come from something which is inherent in a movement that wants demographic majority. The same drive that will eventually bring about the creation of a Palestinian state, simply because this drive to be a Jewish majority is what will prevent the annexation of the West Bank.
This is what compromise is in the Israeli mindset. They take the land, claim that it's theirs, and then they make concessions on land that doesn't actually belong to them. And this is the way that the Zionist movement is about. So at Taba didn't really differ very much from Camp David. The Israelis were still willing to take, you still wanted the Ariel block, you still wanted Ma'ale Adumim, you still wanted to take large swaths of Palestinian land. There was still no recognition that Palestinians have a right to return to their homeland. There was still no compensation that was going to be paid. There was still this idea of continual control over Palestinian lives. This is precisely the face of Zionism, the fact that Israel comes to me and now I'm considered to be an immigrant to that country. This is precisely the ideology. The problem with Israel is that it views me either as a demographic threat or as a security threat. And if you look at Israel today, it already is one state. It's no longer a question of whether it's going to be one state. It is one state. The problem today is it's apartheid. That's what we're living under.
No.
20,000 American-born citizens.
Okay. So there's a couple things I want to say with respect to that. So there's a lot of people who talk about, Israel, and the Bible prophesied that, Israel will come back and blah, blah, blah. Israel was dissolved the day Jesus died, and the veil of the temple from the most holy to the holy place was ripped. And though Jews are still considered God's chosen people, it is true that God has chosen a lot of people. They're all children of the Most High God. And so this religious, what's the word I'm looking for? Self-righteousness is what's leading to this problem. So as you can see, payback for his statements. James Wood said, no ceasefire, no compromise, no forgiveness. James Wood said, kill them all. This was with respect to the Palestinians, and now the forest fires have destroyed his entire home. So when they were bombing out and causing fires on the Palestinian people, God said, oh, you really feel so? Okay, I'm going to show you what happens. And he brought a natural disaster on them. The American Exile says Israel needs to be destroyed. That's the bottom line. I do agree that the system that Israel's under needs to be completely rehauled. I agree with that. Here is something from a performing artist, a Rolling Stone Award, and this is what he has to say.
I don't know. I just think there's only a couple of words to say here. It's kind of weird. It's the first time it's said all night, but I'm just going to say, free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Fuck Netanyahu and fuck Zionism. Free Palestine. Fuck Netanyahu and fuck Zionism. Free Palestine. My fun says DC.
Yep. Now listen to this.
IDF soldier?
Yes, I am.
Didn't the IDF, they bombed Gaza and they
Yeah, of course.
and they killed hundreds of children?
I don't know about it, okay? I just know that we bombed them because they bombed us, okay? And
What about before that? Why did they bomb you guys?
I don't know why, okay? Maybe something like a lot of years ago, but
You don't know the information? Before Israel, 1948, it was Palestine.
yeah.
No, it's called Israel.
No, it was called Palestine before 1948.
Maybe it is.
And it still is. Right now, it's occupied Palestine, yes.
Yeah.
I wish IDF no children. Okay? And I wish the IDF find you and kill you, okay?
Why?
Okay.
No, I don't know.
It's only Israel, no Palestine. And if you talk it like again, I will put you in your okay? Motherfucker.
Wait, does he kill innocent Palestinians?
I kill every Palestinian I see.
So every Palestinian you see, you kill?
Every Palestinian I see, I just
It's really messy to hear about this, but it is what it is. So Eli Cohen, he said for 14 months, they've been on the streets burning American flags and vowing to burn down the USA. Who did this? Palestine did this. He's blaming natural disaster on Palestine. It's happening in California and Hollywood. Truckler says, so this Joker killed Robin, pushing Batman into betraying his own moral code. Yet all he did when he had Joker in his hands was break his teeth and lock him back into Arkham. Okay, so Trugler obviously doesn't know what BVS is about. First, let's hear the response from Raven, and then I'm going to deal with it. Can't believe how fucking retarded people can be. Some people are beyond helping. There's no point in even trying to make them understand things. Or maybe they're just being dishonest to spread and share their hate. Okay, let me respond to Trugler. Batman was fine after he had beaten up Joker after Joker killed Robin. It's fine. But you have to understand something. This Batman has gone through a lot of loss. It came to a head when Batman saw Superman fighting General Zod and took down Wayne Towers. From thenceforth, that is when Batman became very brutal. And that was highlighted by Alfred. Okay. Alfred said new rules. Batman started branding people after Superman. After the Ground Zero event or the Black Zero event, Batman started to get dark. And this is sort of like the Death in the Family storyline where, again, Batman started getting dark after Robin was killed and Joker was just parading all around the place, getting away with the murder. So this is what Batman's about. So, again, he didn't kill Joker. He beat him up really bad. Obviously, Joker lost some teeth. And he says damage. Batman really beat him bad. But that's not the reason Batman turned south and started killing people. It was because of what happened with Superman. And he felt powerless to stop him. And he decided by hook or by crook, I'm going to stop this guy. So that's BVS, which Truckler, again, misunderstood. Jason Hinkler says, fuck you, Israel. Suppressed News says, despite my hatred for the U.S. government and its actions in the Middle East, I have nothing against the American people. My prayers go out to the Americans affected by the wildfires. I hear you, brother. They were fighting the fires with bags. They're not even using hoses. It's crazy. Los Angeles looks like Gaza, drone footage of total destruction in Los Angeles. Okay, check this out.
So Jonathan Greenblatt is our great defender and fighter, head of the ADL. Of all places to meet, the ghost town of Kiryat Shmona, where we are in rocket range of Hezbollah. That's why this entire huge town is empty, but there's a ceasefire. What brought you here, Jonathan?
I'm here to stand with the people of Israel. I'm Israel Fag.
And the ADL, you saw yesterday, we had IDF soldiers who were almost arrested in Brazil. My sons are on that list, by the way, that
Really?
fake thing. What are we going to do about protecting IDF soldiers as they travel?
Stand with them. We're going to stand with Israel. We'll defend them with everything we got.
Okay. Now, when the ADL comes to, given that your remit is really fighting anti-Semitism in the United States,
Yeah.
what is the mission of ADL here in Israel specifically?
Look, Israel stands with the people of Israel. The fight against anti-Semitism is limited to the United States, and the fight against the Jewish people isn't limited to Israel. We're all in this together. Israel. Hi.
Best thing you ever did was marry a Persian Jewish wife. By the way, and thank you for the statement you put out because of all the attacks that I really appreciate it.
So there they are. I hate it when Russia, Iran, and China interfere in American politics. And then you see the Jewish people, Israelis interfering in American politics straight through. It's crazy. Okay.
Also this week, the House will vote to impose sanctions on ICC officials and put the ICC prosecutor Karim Khan back in his place. He does not have jurisdiction over Israel or the United States, and it is outrageous that they're issuing arrest warrants for Prime Minister Netanyahu and Israel's Defense Minister Gallant. The ICC is actually equating Israel and Hamas, even as Hamas still holds Israelis and American hostages. It is just absurd. The House will not tolerate rogue actors who circumvent international law to attack Israel and...
Okay, this guy's a complete and utter asshole. Israel's holding 1,200, 1,300, maybe even more now because they have a lot of prisoners in torture camps from Gaza. And of course, they've always had from the West Bank. They've been holding hostage these people, no charges on them, anything. So this fucker, this clown, is trying to, and then he says it's a false equivalence. Motherfucker, shut the fuck up. Now, this is what we need to do to a bully. Bullies need to be put in their place. And it's very easy to deal with bullies like these. The world, you're much more than the United States of America. You need to stand up and you need to make statements from 140-something countries. The United Nations needs to pass a vote, a resolution. If the United States tries to invade The Hague or tries to do anything, like how they're trying to take Greenland from Denmark, like how they're trying to take Canada, if they make any aggressive moves, the world needs to turn against them and fight them. Period. They need to be put in their place. And while we thank them for forming a certain world order after the World War II, we're not thanking them now. This prick thinks he can put into law certain things. That's a unilateral action. The International Criminal Court, the International Court of Justice are multinational institutions. So fuck this asshole prick and fuck his people and fuck any military operation that tries to interfere with the International Criminal Court. May the brunt force of the world and may the Most High God strike these assholes down if they try anything like that. They behave just like Israel and Netanyahu. They're bullies. They're wrong and strong. We'll see how wrong and strong they can stand when the world starts to sanction their dumb ass and nobody wants to do trade with them. Fucking assholes.
Threaten America. We won't do it. And this.
I'm American and I hate my government for all the pain and suffering.
The whole entire.
They have caused around the world without the permission of my people. But bro, American exile, they're also causing a lot of pain and suffering for Americans. Look, right now, we've had the flooding that happened in the United States of America. They didn't have money for that. Now we have the firestorms that just happened recently. We got record levels of homelessness. People can't even afford their fucking rent. Things are hard in America. They're getting harder by the day. The infrastructure is decaying on them. And these fuckers are sending money to another fucking country for a fucking war. It's not even a war. It's a slaughter. Fuck these people. They're not doing things in the interest of the American public. They're fucking the American public over. And it's about time you guys realize that. They're fucking you over, and it's connected. America sent 2 planes to bomb Sa'anan an hour ago. This is in Yemen. Yes, what I said is true. They didn't send them to put out the fire and save its citizens, but they sent them to start a fire in my country and kill citizens of my country. So they could have sent, their National Guard to deal with the issues in California. But these fuckers are not even doing that. They're sending their military out to other countries to burn the other countries down. My Time to Shine Hello says,
You're letting them kill Martha. What's that mean? Why did you say that name?
got his attention.
Find him. Save Martha.
So he's like, what the fuck? Save my mother? And he's going through the PTSD right here.
Why did you say that name? Martha, why did you say that name?
Stop! Please, stop!
Why did you say that name?
It's his mother's name. It's his mother's name.
Very fucking intense. I love that scene a lot. And, yeah, the thing about a lot of these people are they're disconnected from other people, like, how Israelis see the Palestinians as animals. Xenophobia, right? Batman saw Superman as an animal. He saw him as a thing to be destroyed. He said, you're not a god, you're not even a man, right? And this is where Batman senses Superman's humanity when he realizes, oh shit, he's trying to save his mom, who's a human being. He's got a human being girlfriend who rushes in and is like, hey man, don't kill this dude. So all of that's processing through his mind. It's such an intense moment because he's going through PTSD. And that PTSD kind of bought time for Superman so that Lois Lane was able to save him. And so doing, Lois Lane saved Superman. Superman saved Batman. And Batman saved Superman's mom. It's a sort of triangle thing going on there. All right, let's keep this moving. So,
I just want to do something useful with my life.
So farming,
Trump there grinning with the
feeding people, that's not useful.
I didn't say that.
My family's been farming for 5 generations, Clark.
Your family, not mine. I don't even know why I'm listening to you. You're not my dad. You're just some guy who found me in a field.
Clark!
That's all right, Martha. He's right. Clark has a point. We're not your parents. But we've been doing the best we can, and we've been making this up as we go along. So maybe our best isn't good enough anymore.
Look, Dad, hold on.
Go for the overpass. No. Get your mom to the overpass.
fucking Superman. Where Superman comes from, y'all. Motherfucking Superman. I know it sounds crazy, but he put a life for dog over his own life to save our world. And he succeeds at doing it. That's so Superman. Fucking Superman. He was just talking about his father not being his father, you know. Genetically, he wasn't his father, but he raised him as a father. You know, James Gunn in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 showed how, you know, the guy who had raised Star-Lord was his father. It's the same kind of thing where, you know, he had Kryptonian parents, but his Earth parents are what raised him and made him who he was. It's just, it's so ironic, the whole scene. Now, superficial people, they'll always, you know, talk a lot of baloney because they don't like that, you know, Superman's father, you know, he died that way. But to me, it's beautiful because his father was willing to sacrifice his life so that his son would continue on. And we saw that in BVS, where Superman was willing to sacrifice his life so that Lois and the world could continue on without Doomsday. So the motif keeps on repeating itself, and people don't seem to understand that. They're like, no, this is a Hollywood movie. It should follow a Hollywood pattern. And like, fucking life isn't like that, you dumb fuck. You know, life's not like that. Good people die, and they die for causes. And what's happening in Palestine, a lot of good people, doctors, all kinds of people who are dying, and they die. Sometimes the good guy doesn't win. Okay? That's fucking life. And that's what I love about Zack Snyder. And would that person change anything? Would they not sacrifice themselves for these people? Fuck no. Every single time they make that decision because that's in their hearts and they care about other people. Sometimes more than they care about their own lives at certain points in time. That's a Christian way. I don't know about other people. That's the Christian way. So much more to say, but I'm going to stop right here.
Not all Palestinians are bad. They're just taught the wrong
It's
things.
very important for people to realize that most of the people in high positions in the American government have Israeli dual citizenship. It's not
What I
just
think
about
should happen
Jewish.
is they should
It's
be
about-
destroyed.
Listen to this.
Not all Palestinians are bad. They're just taught the wrong things. What I think should happen is they should be destroyed. Not all Palestinians are bad. They're just taught the wrong things. What I think should happen is they should be destroyed. Not all Palestinians.
It's gotta be.
It's crazy, but it is what it is.
This is
This is my last thing here. There's a lot more I wanted to say, but I can't.
Used for genocide. What are they going to do? Are they going to shoot me in the street for speaking up? They don't have any power. The only power that they have is the power we give them. You know the old saying, the king is only the king as long as the people think he's the king. As soon as they stop thinking it's the king, they're finished. I'm more concerned about the cowards who don't speak up. People who look at the television and go, isn't that awful? Let's put on a cookery program. They're the people I find disappointing. I could have a very easy life and just enjoy being a reasonably successful actor and well-known and enjoy all the benefits. But my conscience wouldn't allow me. Occupation it makes me nauseous. It involves apartheid. It involves crimes against humanity. And as we're seeing at the moment, it involves genocide. If you think about it, Game of Thrones was about the nature of power and the corrupting qualities that power can give you. You have to be very, very careful with power.
It's interesting him saying that because in BVS, Lex Luthor says, the oldest lie in America is that power could be innocent. And that's pretty much it. The power can be very corrupting. And he's just making that, that truth. He
The
just
documentary.
kinda said that right there. Okay, so I'm kind of done right here. There's a lot more I want to say. I'm not going to do that.
Fuck.
I think I've said enough.
News.
8 billion arms sale to Israel. Shout out to my dear lady Medea Benjamin, fighting so hard. This woman's been fighting for Palestinian freedom for the longest while. She's Jewish. I love her to death. She's a great soul, and she is fearless as fuck. I gotta give her a props, man. She be fighting, and she fighting hard. So shout out to Medea Benjamin. Much love to her. Let me tell you something. The Jewish people are leading the charge. So they can't say you're anti-Semitic or this. Now they have to say, oh, they're self-hating Jews. They're clowns. That's what these motherfuckers are. But their days are almost numbered. If it's anti-Semitic to say Israel can't commit genocide, is Professor Steinberg saying that genocide is part of being Jewish? Because he's saying this is anti-genocide. Amnesty International says it's anti-genocide. Okay, here's another set of stuff.
Little boy holding a stone. They want you to think they're undefeatable. They want you to think that they're the only democracy in the world. But you know what they are? A lie. We have a phrase in Arabic, التكرار يعلم الشطار. They've repeated the lie so much that it acted as truth. That you watch a little boy holding a stone and you think Israel has a right to defend itself against him.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any idea how racist it is for these mainstream media channels to assume that the people are going to be disrespected, not just killed, disrespected, and do nothing about it? That is a racist notion. And this is why everyone has a role to play now.
Democrats, Republicans, owned by corporations, Amazon, Apple, owned by BlackRock. U.S. elections are occasions in which coalitions of private investors coalesce to invest to control the state. This is what's known as the investment theory of politics, developed by Thomas Ferguson, a political scientist. Elections are bought and sold. The electability of a candidate largely depends on one variable: campaign donations. How much money can a candidate raise? According to careful studies conducted on this matter, elections have become predictable within a 99% accuracy based on who raised the most money. Not surprising then that candidates cater their platform to the interests of the wealthy. One recent study found that Senate votes have absolutely no correlation to the public interests of the bottom 2/3 of the population. Wow. Almost immediately after a senator is elected, their offices are bogged down, flooded with corporate lobbyists who hold drafts of bills that they sometimes have written word for word, which press the demands of their constituents. Corporations. Meanwhile, the senator is already on the phone calling and thanking donors, trying to secure funds for his next re-election campaign. The culture of American politics is quite clear. If senators want to keep their job, they must listen to and advocate for their constituents who invested in their election and who expect a return on their investment. You think the senator is going to listen to the public? Are you out of your fucking mind? Are you out of your fucking mind?
Well said. Rich, bloodthirsty Zionists losing their homes in the fire is kind of poetic justice, if you think about it. James Wood repeatedly breaks down on CNN after losing home to LA fires. Well, Mr. James Wood, you probably shouldn't have said death to all Palestinians, kill them all. You shouldn't have said that, but you did. So God said, all right, let me show you something. See, there he is, no ceasefire, no compromise. All right, now let's keep this going.
He doesn't believe in the worth of each individual. We must do everything we possibly can to stop the terror. Now, what's his drive?
When are you going to apologize for the million Iraqis that have died because you lied? You lied about weapons of mass destruction. You lied about connections to 9/11. You lied about Iraq. You said people Iraq. You said people Iraq in 2003. My friends are dead. Joshua Patino. You killed people. You lied. You lied about WMD. A million Iraqis are dead because you lied. My friends are dead because you lied. You need to apologize. Apologize.
The tyrant has fallen, and Iraq is free. I know for a fact that he poisoned his own people. He doesn't believe.
Palestine is the most well-documented genocide in history, yet the most denied. Sorry, America, your government couldn't afford water for fire hydrants and firefighting planes. They have to give billions of tax dollars to Israel to kill innocent children in Gaza. Bro, you're so right. Ireland officially joined South Africa's case in the International Court of Justice, accusing Israel of carrying out a genocide in Gaza. This is an epic scene, as you know.
Just so that all the staff and customers in this store know
The
why we're
BDS
here.
movement.
We're in this store.
Judaism, yes! Zionism, no! The state of Israel must go!
I used to be a Zionist. I fully believed in the dream. Because growing up in anti-Semitic Hungary, I became somewhat ashamed of my Jewishness without even knowing about it. And Zionism really just liberated me from that. All of a sudden, there was something to be proud about. There was a history to identify with, a goal to pursue, an ideal to realize, and a community to belong to proudly. And then I found out that this nice story that I believed in was not true, that it was based on imposing a nightmare on the indigenous population of Palestine, and that research had been done not by Palestinians but by Jews. And that right since the beginning of the Zionist movement, there have been Jewish critics pointing out exactly what was going to happen. And once I saw that truth, I couldn't unsee it.
10 things I didn't see one word from Elon Musk about child abuse.
We also have a history of kind of moving in and out of Pakistan. I mean, let's remember here, the people we are fighting today, we funded 20 years ago. And we did it because we were locked in this struggle with the Soviet Union. They invaded Afghanistan, and we did not want to see them control Central Asia. And we went to work. And it was President Reagan in partnership with the Congress, led by Democrats, who said, you know what, sounds like a pretty good idea. Let's deal with the ISI and the Pakistani military, and let's go recruit these mujahideen. And let's get some to come from Saudi Arabia and other places, importing their Wahhabi brand of Islam so that we can go beat the Soviet Union. And guess what? They retreated. They lost billions of dollars, and it led to the collapse of the Soviet Union. So there's a very strong argument, which is, it wasn't a bad investment to end the Soviet Union, but let's be careful what we sow because we will harvest. So we then left Pakistan. We said, okay, fine, you deal with the stingers that we've left all over your country. You deal with the mines that are along the border. And by the way, we don't want to have anything to do with you. In fact, we're sanctioning you. So we stopped dealing with the Pakistani military and with ISI, and we now are making up for a lot of lost time.
There you go, folks. I gotta wrap up. I got so much more I gotta say, but it takes time. We sent $250 billion to Ukraine, and yet we can't get water to fight fires in California. You see the sentiment over and over again. All right, people. They removed John Goldstein, who was the marketing chief behind major campaigns, including Barbie. They just sacked him and Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers is for
Doctors Against Genocide.
So here's a drone shot from the Palisades in LA from earlier today. Looks kind of reminiscent of Gaza, so keep that in mind when we're talking about capitalism and imperialism. 1/10,000th of the horror, still part of the same system. Let's get into it. Here in LA pointed out that $23 million was cut from the LA Fire Department budget, amongst other departments, so they could give the LAPD $138 million increase, even though crime is lower and has decreased and there are fewer cops. So we know that cops are all about union busting and property and scab defense, but we have to remember that their roots are as a counterinsurgency force, both in Northern Ireland, veterans of which joined and founded the the London Metropolitan Police, and out of slave patrols in the Caribbean and Carolinas, which were another counterinsurgency force. So as things get worse and people get more desperate and more violent, the ruling class is going to need more cops to put down dissent and to protect property. Now, when it comes to underfunding the fire department, well, the easiest way or the best way to degrade confidence in an institution, especially a government institution, is to underfund it. See what's happening with the Department of Education. So if during a crisis people see that the fire department can't handle it, and the state's paying for it, our tax dollars are paying for it, well, if the government can't do it, privatize it. And a lot of rich people lost their homes in the Palisades. So what are we going to see soon? Real estate CEO and resident of the Palisades, who apparently lost his house, Keith Wasserman, who's blocked me. Does anyone have access to private firefighters to protect our home in Pacific Palisades? We need to act fast here. All neighbors' houses are burning. We'll pay any amount. Thank you. So there's going to be a massive push to privatize the fire department. It's going to maybe, I don't know how it would look like, but I guess the business model would be like you pay a subscription service, like an insurance premium, and you'll be covered in network.
That's the corruption going on in America. Free Palestine. I hear you, my brother. All right, that's about it for me. I'm not going to do any more. There's a lot could be said, but I think I need to wrap it up right here. But before I do, this is IMA here. Listen to her song.
I'm finna eat, they
making we. Virus, watch the millions die. Biggest profit of their lives is inflation, that's your prize. This is Carmageddon. Turn on the news and leave the lies. Kim or Kanye, pick your side. Cancel culture, what a vibe. This is Carmageddon. Corporations swear they never lie. Politicians brought to life. More wars, genocide. This is
They canceled it.
Virus, watch the millions die. Biggest profit of their lives is inflation, that's your prize. It's Carmageddon. Turn on the news and leave the lies. Kim or Kanye, pick your side. Cancel culture, what a vibe. This is Carmageddon. Corporations swear they never lie. Politicians brought to life. More wars, genocide.
So we're gonna get some more here. So Ozzy Singer, she's also a medical doctor. IMA, she uses a contract with a record label over a Carmageddon song. Which I told you what Carmageddon is. For those of you missed it, it's just the consequences to evil actions. The chickens come to roost. So she's a medical doctor and she also sings. The music's really blowing up.
Profit of their lives is inflation, that's your prize. This is Carmageddon. Turn on the news and leave the lies. Kim or Kanye, pick your side. Cancel culture, what a vibe. This is Carmageddon. Corporations swear they never lie. Politicians brought to life. More wars, genocide.
Hey everyone, my name is IMA and I just... Okay, I'm going to leave this part in, I'm not going to cut it. I'm just so excited that the song that I wrote called Carmageddon, I wrote it with Danny Duke, my producer, love that guy, is #2 on iTunes Australia charts. It's #2 in Australia. It's blowing my mind because this song is completely independent. I now no longer have a manager because he decided to bail on me after I wrote these lyrics. Whack. I walked away from my major label and it's just a two-person team out here. So it's all organic and I just wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for just getting behind the song, just supporting. It means the world and obviously these lyrics are hitting people. They came from a real...
Big fun finna eat, they a devil making weed. Watch the millions die. Biggest profit of their lives is inflation, that's your prize. This is Carmageddon. Turn on the biggest profit of I'ma speak my mind. Sick to death of all these crazy lies. A circus for humanity's decline. We just want a peaceful life. Give the people back their rights. And I still gotta beef. Cause Fauci's laughing and we've been asleep. And who's a liar and it's running deep. Big pharma finna eat, they end up making weed. Virus, watch the millions die. Biggest profit of their lives. I'ma speak my mind. Virus, watch the millions. And I still gotta beef. Cause Fauci's laughing and we've been asleep. And who's a liar and it's running deep. Big pharma finna eat, they a devil making weed. Virus, watch the millions die. Biggest profit of their lives is inflation, that's your prize. This is Carmageddon. Turn on the news and leave the lies. Kim or Kanye, pick your side. Cancel culture, what a vibe. This is Carmageddon. And I still gotta beef. Cause virus, watch the millions die. Biggest profit of their lives is inflation, that's your prize. This is Carmageddon. Turn on the news and leave the
is come again. Turn on the news and leave the lies. Come on, Kanye, pick your side. Cancel culture, what a vibe. This is come again. Corporations swear they never lie. Politicians brought to life. Wars, genocide. This is come again. Welcome to the chaos all the time. If you go left and I go right, pray we make it out alive. This is come again.
Listening to Karma may cause sudden bouts of critical thinking, heightened awareness of societal chaos, and an uncontrollable urge to question authority. Side effects.
So this is what the album looks like. It's a single. You can see it on YouTube. Just type it in, and IMA, and you get it. John Singleton's birthday, Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill. Wayne T. Carr's in the Odyssey, which is kind of dope. Okay. Grades of Superman, Man of Steel.
Lots of religions, not just Islam, produce violence. It was our government that kept Mubarak in power, just like we've done across the entire Muslim world. And it's amazing for you to say that, well, look at all these Muslims. The minute you give them a little bit of freedom, they go wild and they start being all violent. How can you be a citizen of the United States, the country that has generated more violence and militarism in the world over the last 5 or 6 decades, and say, look at those people over there, they are incredibly violent? We play a significant role in what has been happening in the Middle East because we've been interfering and dominating that region in order to have access to the oil.
I wasn't talking about violence. I was talking about theocracy. That doesn't happen here.
No, well, okay, that doesn't happen here, but at the same time, Iran isn't invading lots of other countries and occupying them for a decade, nor are fundamentalist Muslim countries the way the United States is. So these things are interlinked because we are continuously interfering in that part of the world. And so to say...
Really, it's all our fault?
It's not all our fault, but when you send your military for 6 straight decades into other countries to bomb them, kill their children and women and innocent men,
We weren't
prop up
doing that.
dictators, you take responsibility for your actions and say, to the extent that that region...
That religion goes back 1,000 years before our revolution. So I don't think we can take all the blame.
I don't think we should. I think we should take a lot of it. And there's lots of bodies and corpses that have been piled up in the name of Christianity and Judaism as well.
Not recently.
Have you heard of the occupation of the West Bank and Gaza for the last 50 years, motivated in part by extremist views of Judaism, or the wars in Europe, or the fact that there were generals in the United States saying we have to go and invade and destroy Iraq, a country of 26 million people, because our God is bigger? Lots of religions, not just Islam, produce violence.
If I could just make one quick point about Egypt.
That's a liberal view that all religions are alike because it makes you feel good.
No, it makes you feel good to say our side is better. Those people over there are
feel good
primitive
to
and
put a
violent.
crown on your head and say, I'm a good person. How do I prove that?
You get to ignore the responsibility that your own government has for the violence and instability in the world by saying, look, it's that primitive religion over there that's to blame.
Yep.
Lots of
People, I'm
religions,
gonna
not
get
just
out of here.
Islam, produce violence.
It's been
It was
fun.
our government that kept Mubarak in
You
power,
guys have a
just like
great
we've
day.
done